proposition fit and business fit. Value proposition is a very important component for which any startup or company strives, because it is the need to meet the customer's expectations. And you achieve a fit when the products and services offered as part of the value proposition address the requirements of the customer profile. And it is very important to have a successful startup. You have a good idea, but you are working on a product or service. But it is very important that you should not turn up with something in the market that the customers don't want to buy, for which the customer is not interested, because after all you are making a product, you need a market, you need to sell your product. So value proposition fit and business fit, it is a very important component. And to learn more about this element, we have today with us an expert, Mr. Adit Goswami. He is the founder and CEO of VPEGs.
Hi, Dr. Sujata. Thank you so much. Thanks for the
Hi, Mr. Adit. So let me, before starting the session, I'll tell you, I'll give a brief introduction about the speaker for today. Mr. Adit Goswami is working as founder and CEO of VPAX, which is an investment banking firm. He specializes in entrepreneurship, startup advisory, fundraise, and setting up businesses and scaling them up. He has extensive experience in assisting technology business incubator and incubation and innovation and entrepreneurship development center to set up and scale with the help of relevant industry academia collaboration. He is also experienced in developing entrepreneurship and incubation ecosystems in institutions, universities, and schools. He has founded Pinchit in 2019, and he led the business operations for a US based edtech in India. And he is currently working on building an ecosystem for prodigy and growth stage startups to provide them with the right mentorship to simplify the scale and funding paths for them. I welcome you once again, Mr. Adit. And now the floor is open for you, and you may start your talk, please.
thank you, Dr. Sujata, and it's really wonderful to see a lot of young chaps and doing something really wonderful or some great work in entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial ecosystem. If you just allow me half a minute, I would request everybody to please open your camera. That will be great for me if I can just see your faces once, and then we can just kickstart. Whosoever can, please open your camera.
Yeah, please do open the camera so that at least we get a photo of. Also, we'll get a photo for of all with all the participants, and we also get to know the participants.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shivam, for opening your camera up.
Please do open the cameras, please. The rest of the participants also, I would request you once again.
There is no harm of facing the camera. I mean, don't worry.
अरे भाई ऐसे फोटो कैसे लेंगे हम? मीन्स सबने बंद कर दिया. Yeah, let us see your faces and let us take a photo with you all. Yeah, that's nice. We can see most of the faces, though some of you have closed the camera. Yeah.
Okay, so what language are you comfortable with? Shall I speak in English only? Shall I mix it up? What are your preferences? Please tell me so that I can moderate my conversation with you accordingly.
Yeah, English is fine if you don't mind.
Cool, sure. In both the languages.
I think Mr. Adit, you can keep it English, means a mixed one, because we have, yeah.
I get that.
Next time.
So, I'll try and cover as much as I can in English, and then wherever I do seems fit, I'll just hop into the Hindi or English language. So, okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adit Goswami, as Dr. Sujata mentioned. So, I've been in been an entrepreneur since 2011, 12. So it's been 11, 12 years now, and it's a wonderful experience, wonderful journey so far. I'm heading an IB firm now, founded year and a half back. It's a great, great experience. Though, as I think you've already discussed, I'm not really sure how much are you familiar with entrepreneurship or startup ecosystem, but I'm just going to cover the basics of this, the basics of it, and then probably would tell you some of the reality, some of the core harsh reality of the the startup world. Because it might see the hunky-dory stuff, it might see very glorified, but the reality is absolutely different. The reality is on on the other side of the darkness. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a really wonderful journey. If you really love what you're doing, then you will absolutely love it to the core. So the topic that we're going to cover is value proposition and business fit. So if I may ask one or two of you can just tell me what is value proposition for you, and the other person can just tell me what is business fit for you. So anyone just raise your hand and just probably just tell me one liner about a business, the value proposition and business fit. What is it for you? It's not a monologue, so please open your mic and then speak. It'll be better if we conversate, because that'll help you learn more. If I'll just speak and just go, it won't help you in longer run. Trust me, I was a student back in my time as well. So please open your mic and then just share what is it for you.
हेलो सर।
Yeah, Shivam, go ahead.
यस सर, जितना मैं जानता हूँ वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन का मतलब है कि जब हम कोई प्रोडक्ट या कोई सर्विस सेल करते हैं तो कस्टमर्स को हम क्या वैल्यू प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, हमारे प्रोडक्ट से कस्टमर को क्या फायदा मिल रहा है। अकॉर्डिंग टू मी दिस इज वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन।
Okay, cool, thank you. Shivansh, if you want to share. I can see JCS Ravikant. Go ahead, Ravikant.
Value, according to me, value proposition is all about creating the win-win for each shareholders or the participants or the people involved into it. The beneficiaries as well as the buyers, the traders, everyone who is into the loop. Creating that win-win for them is something that might be called as a value proposition. That is what I think.
Thank you, Ravikant. Yeah, go ahead, Vinit.
Good afternoon, sir. Well, in my views, value proposition is the unique benefits and value that a product, service, or solution offers to its customer or target audience, and describes why a customer should choose a particular offering over competitors, alternatives, and the other key advantages or solutions are provided to them.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so anyone else? Mirali Naseeb, uniqueness, question mark. Okay. Anyone else, please? Go ahead. All right, cool. So anyway, so I think you all are right in a way. It is anyway a win-win situation for all the stakeholders, and it is creating that that edge over the competitors. So as the name suggests, the value prop. So the value proposition means what is that moat? What is that differentiator factor? What is that one unique thing or multiple unique things that you're offering through your offer? So for example, let's say you're selling a phone. So how is your phone different from Xiaomi, from MI, from Samsung, from OnePlus of the world? So what is that differentiator? What is that value prop that you're trying to give to your customer or to the final consumer? So that is definitely value proposition. It covers in the same length wave. Okay, business fit. What is business fit or business model for you? Go ahead. What do you think a business fit is or a business model is?
Any framework through which we run our business.
Okay, any framework through which you run your business. Cool. Thank you, Mayur. Anyone else? I can see Anwar saying mode of operation aligned with the market and the business. All right. What else? Yeah, Vinit, go ahead.
So business model or business fits refers to the way in which a company creates or deliver and capture values in order to generate revenues or sustain its operations.
Mm-hmm.
That includes overall strategy and structure of a business, include how it operates, creates value for customers, and how it generates profits. More insight value proposition comes under the business models, customer segments, channels, customer relationships.
Thank you, Vinit. So you're absolutely bang on the subject. So business model is basically those 9 components of the business model. So value proposition is one of the component of the business model. So when we say the business fit, so we talk about the business model as a wholesome ecosystem. And then we talk about value prop, we talk about customer segmentation, we talk about differentiator factors, we talk about channels, we talk about revenue, we talk about costing, we talk about profits, we talk about a number of things. I mean, 9 components to be precise. These are the things that we need to cover when we actually think of a value prop or think of value, holistic business running. So cool. So I think we have started on the right note, and a few of you do have a certain knowledge about the certain aspects of it, especially on the business side of it. So let me just share my screen. Allow me a second, and then I can take you through with the 2-3 slides, and then we can take it forward. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible to you all?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So we are going to speak about value proposition and business fit. So this is primarily those 10 things, and that's why I've divided the 10%, the value of 10% to each. When we talk about value proposition and business fit, so we'll start from understanding your target audience. So when we talk about target audience, so इसको अगर holistically देखने की कोशिश करेंगे, so target audience is something where it's just not confined to specific age or the locality. It do cover a lot of other aspects as well. For example, जब आप generally किसी target को किसी customer को target करने की कोशिश कर रहे होते, you try and think through and through whether उसके like and dislikes क्या है, what color, what scheme, what preferences he or she has over the other products. For example, जब आप compare करते हो the Samsungs of the world between the Apples of the world, so those two different segment is right there. एक Android based है और एक आपका iOS based है. So preference over Android over iOS or iOS over Android is very much vigilant, and it's evident. It's right there. So when you talk about that, so उसका एक preference का अपना एक angle आप search करने की कोशिश करते हो when you actually try and understand कि आपका target audience कौन है. जब आप कुछ चीज को बनाने के लिए जाते हो, you do think कि आपके customer के preferences on pricing क्या होंगे, तभी आप उस understand का तभी आप उस target audience का जो है understanding ज़्यादा better ले पाओगे. So when you do your research at the first place, whether it's on the primary or the secondary level, so both the angles should cover the entire horoscope of the audience. Otherwise, आपका जो research का outcome है, that would not be sufficient enough, or that would not serve the purpose that you're trying to achieve eventually as a company. So जब भी हम generally किसी को advise करते हैं as a startup, we generally focuses a lot on the target, on the understanding of the target audience, because eventually there are a lot of companies of the time जो shelf हो गई हैं, जिनका आज के time पे कोई अस्तित्व नहीं है, जो आज के time पे those are not available in the market, so they have been shelved. Why? Because eventually या तो वो time के accordingly अपने आप को change नहीं कर पाए basis the target audience preferences, या उनका जो फर्स्ट लेवल ऑफ रिसर्च था वो शायद एक सेट ऑफ पब्लिक के लिए ठीक था, बट इवेंचुअली एट अ लार्जर स्केल इट वाज नॉट परफेक्ट और नॉट फिट. So that is how it is very, very critical. So make sure when you actually think through and through about target audience, you actually covering the entire horoscope of it. So इसका अगर आप simply Google भी करेंगे तो you will understand how many aspects are there when you actually search about the audience that you're targeting. So the second point which I'm going to talk about is the moat or defining a value proposition. So once you understand who's my target audience, for example, you won't sell, let's say, liquor to somebody who's under 18 or under 21 or under 25, right? Whatever is the age limit preferred by the government or set by the government. You won't sell X, those things which are prohibited for, let's say, a certain set of audience. Because आपको जब ये क्लियर हो जाएगा मेरा ये ऑडियंस और इनके लिए मैं बेच सकता हूँ, तभी आप अपना जो है मोट या वैल्यू प्रॉप रेडी कर पाओगे. So when we talk about moat, so moat is nothing but the differentiator factor, that one differentiator factor that differentiates you or you differentiate your value proposition from your competition. So जैसे हम अभी बात कर रहे थे between Samsung and Apples. So what are those moat or value differentiator factor that you think there are? So just tell me, give me one or two examples. How do you think Samsung's phone is different from the Apple's phone? So just give me any example that you can give. I can't see you guys, so please you have to unmute and then speak. I won't be able to read it.
Apple is known for its luxury and comfort of use, ease of use.
Okay, so do you think Samsung is not there on the ease of use and the luxury of it?
Not in that way, but product positioning into the market is different.
Okay. So they position themselves, the Apples. So they have positioned themselves at the premium segment of the lot.
Yes,
Hello?
yes, and the pricing as well.
Okay.
iOS pattern, I believe that it's one of the distinctive feature which Apple iPhone do have. iOS platform, yeah.
Can you be a little clear? Your voice is just handling a bit.
Samsung follows the Android stock, whereas Apple follows their own iOS.
Yeah, right. That's a difference. That is clear differentiator. Yeah.
And they keep innovation. I mean, Samsung is innovating tech industry, like the introducing of fold phones.
Yeah.
And iPhone is more focused on the legacy hardware, apart from being offering a stable software experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is no right and wrong answer into that. I mean, when you actually see Samsung versus Apple, so there is a whole league which actually buys Samsung, worth rupees 2 lakh a phone, which is fold, I believe. So they can buy a 2 lakh rupees phone from Samsung. So there's nothing called a differentiator basis the premiumness, because eventually Samsung is premium anyway. But both are very different. The moat is very different. The value prop is very different. Way the position is very different, and way they sell their services are very different. So okay, that's that being said, so there are other brands as well. For example, let's say Starbucks and CCD. So what do you think a differentiator factor between the both? If you have ever gone to CCD and Starbucks,
they have different target audiences.
Okay.
CCD target midday.
Starbucks is primarily known for working class people who just sit in their outlets and do their remote work. And furthermore, Starbucks has some personalization in their offerings. Suppose when you get a venti cup, you get your name written on it. You can customize it whatever way you want.
Okay, cool. So Starbucks is not actually selling coffee to you. Starbucks is not a business of selling coffee to you. As you rightly mentioned, the Starbucks is actually for people, those who want to sit there and hang out and want to network. That's the whole ecosystem that they've been after to build. That there has to be a place where people come and sit and chat and have discussions and have small forums and have friends and networking and all of that. That is the baseline. That is the underlying what they've stated when they're building Starbucks, especially in India. In fact, outside as well, but yeah, especially in India, it has been perceived as one. Whereas CCD, as you rightly mentioned, CCD is specifically there to actually give you that taste of coffee. Let's say we don't like that. I mean, that's a separate case altogether. You might say that barista is far better, or coffee beans is much better. But again, you need to understand what is the underlying statement that anybody and everybody is trying to sell you or sell me. What is the core that they're trying to sell you and sell me? So the moat is basically that one differentiator. The value prop is the entire chain of the values that you're driving through your business, and what is that purpose that you're trying to solve. So always remember. So before starting anything, I think the purpose behind anything is very, very important. So you have started doing, let's say, cab services. So there has to be a very deep dive, meaning purposeful work that you're trying to do or trying to cater by giving offers or services of cabs. So there has to be a very valid purpose behind it, or the right reason behind it. So make sure whenever you start anything, there has to be a right balance of purpose and the value prop fit. That you're rightfully there with the purpose that there in your head, and then that is how you're providing the value proposition to your business. When we talk about validation, your value proposition, of course, it is very, very important. So you can try with a small group. Let's say you can, and you have to. I mean, eventually, let's say you're just selling. For example, if you're selling glasses, so you have to have people validate your glasses, not your friends, not your family. Those people have to be somebody else. Those people have to be not in a network, maybe third-party network, or maybe people or random people, those who can test and try your product or the value proposition that you're trying to give, and then accordingly validate it. The moment it gets the validation, you have the right amount of thesis behind it. That okay, this might not work or this may work. So you will get the validation from the markets. Again, it depends how deep you're diving when it comes to validation. You can go with let's say 50 random samples. You can go with 500 random samples. It solely depends on what service you're offering. If your service is for the masses, let's say your service is for let's say 80 crore people in India or outside, then your sample size cannot be 8 people. Then you have to have that larger scale of validation from different parts of the world or different parts of the states, so that your validation is proving in the right manner. There are people, those who want to sell something in South or in Northeast, and they are validating their products in North or let's say in West. That won't fit, because eventually India has such large scale on the plateau that you move anywhere 30 kilometers from north to south or east to west, the whole system changes, the whole culture changes. So your validation, your value proposition or business validation has to come through with a larger chunk of it. So the validation becomes very, very important once you understand what is your target audience and what is the differentiator factor that you're trying to give, and then validating the same across the panel or across the breadth and width. We talk about differentiate from the competitors. I think we've already discussed somehow that what is that uniqueness that you're providing, or what is that value prop that you're providing, your competitors are not providing. Okay, I'm just going to ask a simple question. How do you think Uber is different from Ola, or Ola is different from Uber? Give me 1 or 2 examples.
और प्राइस में
Hello.
Uber is having a more diversified portfolio of their services. For example, Uber Eats, whereas Ola is primarily limited to their main sector.
What else?
हेलो ऊबर का जो एप्लीकेशन का फेस है वो इजीली हर कोई समझ लेता है, ठीक है, और उसकी सर्विस बेस्ट है कंपेरेटिव ओला का क्या होता है, प्राइस भी ज़्यादा हाइक है, अगर वो ट्रैफिक पे कहीं रुकता है या कुछ भी तो वो प्राइस एकदम से बढ़ा देता है, जिससे कस्टमर उसको पसंद नहीं करते, और ऊबर का कैब हर जगह अवेलेबल हो जाता है, और काफ़ी ऊबर बेनिफिट्स दे रहा है अपने कैब्स वालों को, तो ये थोड़ा डिफरेंस है।
Okay.
Uber is also considered as a reliable option for working class people. There is reliability in it, whereas in Ola it is missing.
Okay.
But many corporate people like a Uber, not a Ola.
Okay.
So in my view, the major difference is market presence. Ola is a Indian riding company and the Uber is a global riding company. And service offerings जो है, Ola is a standard ride hailing service है, जिसके अंदर ओला के अंदर बाइक मोटर बाइक्स आ जाता है, कार ओला शेयर यानी कार पूलिंग आ रहा है, ओला रेंटल्स आ रहा है, आवरली रेंटल. And then if we go with Uber, Uber is standard riding high service also, but like Uber Pool, carpooling, Uber X, budget-friendly cars, Uber XL, large vehicles, and Uber Black. Then regional, if we talk about regional customization, this is also a major fact where like cab entertainment, regional language support, cash payment option in Ola, and cater to local requirements. And mainly, if we talk about Uber, then consists of global experience and often applies standardization features. Partnerships and integrations. Also, it's a major part with Ola and Uber, which can differentiate. We can differentiate from Ola from the just like Ola. Forged partnerships and established partnership. Uber has established partnership with the companies with different industry, including food delivery services too. Last and not the least, that the pricing and incentives.
Right. So I think you guys have differentiated a lot of points. In fact,
one more difference, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Uber is basically focused on taxi services, whereas Ola is entering in diversifying market like manufacturing vehicles and all.
Yeah, EV scooters and all of that.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the differentiators that they've started developing eventually, but any which way they've started as a cab services only. I mean that's the prime, that was the prime. Perhaps I don't know now it is or not, but eventually that was the prime business they were into, both of them. So Uber started Uber Eats, Ola started Ola Eats. Uber is a asset light model. Ola is eventually now getting into the asset heavy model. Uber has spread it across, I don't know, maybe more than 170 countries or 70 countries, I believe, more than 10,000 cities. Ola is close to India and 3 other countries, I believe, Australia, New Zealand, and UK. Perhaps I'm not really sure, but yeah, I think that is the country that they've developed to. And yes, of course, they have started building as EV scooters as well, Ola. So yeah, these are few differentiators you will find eventually, but otherwise, if you see the major look of it, the feel of it, as in the app and the functionality of it, how fast the service from Ola and Uber, it actually solely depends on the network they have created as a services. If let's say Ola has few cars, then their services might be a little faster because eventually they own their own vehicle. So the gap between the two shortens a bit. But when we talk about Ubers, of course, Uber is a asset light model, so they are not specifically dedicated. I mean, I've seen cab drivers saying that I'm going to shut off my Uber app and then I'm just going to operate as I want to, or Ola, perhaps on the Ola for the same as well. So I mean, these are few differentiators. Of course, there are few others as well. But majorly, when you're there in the market, if you're selling Apple and somebody selling Apple similar to you, let's say Apple can be from Kashmir and Apple can be from Shimla. So that is a differentiator there. But eventually, it doesn't differentiate between the two products as a core. So finding that differentiation from the competitor, it is going to be a challenge for anybody who's entering into a similar kind of a business. If somebody selling you a bottle of water and somebody else is coming in the same domain, so eventually उनको बेचना तो bottle of water पड़ेगा ना, उसमें कितना differentiation आप डाल लोगे, bottle की packaging change कर दोगे, you might say that we have iodine free, or you say we have these much of minerals, and somebody would say okay ठीक है हमारे पास इतना नहीं है, somebody say हमारा thickness इतना है, somebody say हमारा thickness इतना नहीं है. So अल्टीमेटली आपको उस डिफरेंशिएशन के पास में जाना पड़ेगा, और बहुत ही मुश्किल से आप जब ढूंढने जाओगे तो बहुत मुश्किल से निकलता है, बट इवेंचुअली यस, दैट इज हाउ इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट, बिकॉज इवेंचुअली व्हेन यू कम टू पीपल लाइक अस, so we do ask these questions: what is the differentiator factor you have over the competition, or what is the mode that you have from the competition? What is that one extra thing that you're doing, or you're doing differently? Because eventually ऐसा भी नहीं है कि you will do anything and everything. Everything boils down to the point whether it is serving the purpose or not, whether it is giving that easy or the easiness to the customer, final consumer or not. क्योंकि उसके बिना कुछ भी चेंज करते रहो, ultimately my only objective is to see कि consumer and target audience का you know, using that product, how efficient and how better it is from the other people. So that is the bottom line. So इसलिए it is very very critical if you see that as a in a holistic nature. Next is continuously refining and optimizing. As we mentioned, somebody said, you know, they're optimizing every time about Samsung. So they are inventing new things, they're optimizing new things, they're refining their products and services, they're coming with new technologies. So becoming mundane is very easy in startup world. You can and you will become mundane and very static to a situation very soon. For example, now people are talking about Apple on the same lines. कि अभी इनका फोन जो है वो पिछले 2-3 बार से सेम आ रहा है, and there is no difference at all in this category. So अब उस differentiation को create करने के लिए, for example, Samsung is trying into multiple phases. They're trying with the glasses, they're coming with their new chipsets, they're coming with their folding phones, and then swap phones and all of that. So similarly, Apple is somehow missing the buzz to a level where they should have opted the technology of folding and other pieces way earlier, but now it seems a little late, but I'm sure जब वो लोग अपना product लेके आएंगे, so it will be very different. As Apple is coming in those eyewears, I'm sure आप लोगों ने शायद देखा होगा, they created those eyewears, AR VR eyewears. So that's a wonderful technology if you witness that. So in all nature, people are and companies are trying to continuously refine and optimize their services as a broader cost. We talk about business model canvas. I think I've mentioned before, if you just Google it, what is business model canvas, you'll see there are 9 components to it. और आप कोई भी company का बात कर लो, you talk about Uber, you talk about Ola, you talk about Reliance, you talk about Tesla, any company in the world, they state or they come under those 9 components only. There is no 10th component when we talk about business model as a whole. So when you sit, you know, as your product, you understand your value proposition, starting with the target audience, going all the way to continuously refining and then optimizing your services. You come down to the left side of the part, which is the business fit or the business model. So you start with the business model. So that's the first thing you should do. पहले अपना canvas पूरा ready करो, उस canvas के ऊपर 9 components को ready करो, and then understand that how every component, every you know, every part of it is equally and essentially important. I mean, there is nothing called कि ये वाला ज़्यादा important है और ये वाला कम important है. The costing is equally important as revenue. The revenue is equally important as customer segment. The customer segment is equally important as channels or resources or core team or value proposition. So everything is correlated and everything is equally important. But you need to understand that you start with one thing, which is again, what audience are you trying to solve the purpose for, and what are exactly what is that exactly services or offering or the product that you're going to sell. So ये core है, core के बाद आप शुरू करते हो पूरा का पूरा tree बनाना. So make sure that if you're making anything or you're building any business, make sure you have your canvas ready in a full-fledged manner, because उस एक पेज के ऊपर आपको पूरा का पूरा business नजर आएगा. Absolute complete picture of the business. You talk about validation of your business. Again, it's absolutely similar, you know, of validating your value proposition. It is equally important validating your business as well. तो जैसे आप अपना value prop को यानी कि prototype को जाके market में test करते हो कि whether ये fit है या नहीं है, the moment you have made your business or your business model, then you validate through mentors, through people in the network, through the same industry people, through same network people, somebody who has made good in the same domain, and then you go and validate from the people. That's one part of it. The other part of it, कि अगर आपका product ready है, आपका business model, as in the frequency of the business model is ready, कि आपको B2C सेल करना है, G2G सेल करना है, B2G सेल करना है, B2B सेल करना है, whatever it is. So you try and actually go and sell or try and give that samples to those people and see whether this business model works or not. Because eventually हर चीज जरूरी नहीं कि जो आपने सोचा वो वैसा हो जाएगा. There might be differences, there might be things which will fall out of your league, but you will only understand through your validation. When we talk about building and scaling the infrastructure, so a scalable infrastructure is very important. That means कि अगर कोई ऐसा business आप कर रहे हैं जिसके अंदर कुछ infrastructurally important जुड़ा हुआ है. For example, I'm advising this company, a drone company, name is Hawaii Adda. So they incubated in Noida. So we recently got an order of close to 50,000 acres of land to spray. So it was the pesticide survey order that we got. And we understood that, when we started, so we started in a scheme of things where we thought that we could only serve up to 1,000 acres of land with the current infrastructure and the current levels that we are. But the moment we got this order, which is a very healthy, very big order, so to optimize it, to make it through, we needed to scale our infrastructure. We wanted to have more things in pipeline. We wanted to have more assembly units. We wanted to have more space. We wanted to have more manpower. So everything got involved when we actually, dig deep. Thankfully, when we started, it was scalable. That we could scale from 100 to 1,000, or 1,000 to 1 lakh. It was not something that it might get in the difficulty phase of it, that you won't be able to do it. वो तब होता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल आपका कुछ आपको कुछ असेंबली यूनिट ऐसा बनाना है कि देयर आर बिग मशीनरीज इन्वॉल्व. So there is this one company I was advising before, and then we opted out. They were into self dialysis, home dialysis especially. So every machine used to cost close to around 28 lakh. और इंडिया में वो मशीन बनता नहीं है. इंडिया में मशीन वो शायद बहुत कम बनता है. So these people were, importing from Germany, and then there were few hiccups from the import as well. There were a couple of issues came. Some imports got banned. Then there were few parts which ought to come from China. Then there were few parts got stopped there. So your scalability then depended on the entire macro scope of it, the macroeconomics of it. Then your scalability depends on the other aspect of it. So तब आप फिर स्केल करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. तब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को पूरा मोल्ड करना बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है. If you exactly know कि अगर कल को मेरे पास 1 करोड़ ऑर्डर भी आ जाएंगे, तो I know how to scale it. Then you are at a right fit. तब आपको अच्छे से पता है कि मुझे बिजनेस को सही से चलाना कैसे है. So building that scalable infrastructure is very, very important. We talk about establishing strategic partnerships. So it is equally important. Yeah. I mean, you have to understand. I keep on saying these things to people, those who come to me and say, मेरा ये business idea है, but I don't want to share the complete picture of it. मेरा idea चोरी हो जाएगा and all of that. See, it's all stupidity. जो लोग ऐसा सोचते हैं कि मेरा idea चोरी हो जाएगा या मुझे किसी के सामने बताना नहीं है जाके and all of that. Idea सोचना अलग बात होती है और आइडिया को एग्जीक्यूट करना एक बिल्कुल अलग बात होती है. एग्जीक्यूशन में यू आर द सोल वॉरियर. लेट्स से यू आर 3 people. You 3 people आर सोल वॉरियर्स जो आप इसको पुल करोगे. और किसी भी इंडिविजुअल यूनिट के पास इतनी कैपेसिटी या इतनी कैपेबिलिटी नहीं होती है. कोई भी हो, वेदर इट्स इवन अंबानी, उसके पास भी एज ए इंडिविजुअल, एज अ रिलायंस यूनिट, वो इतनी कैपेबिलिटीज नहीं होंगी जो वो पूरा का पूरा पुल ऑफ कर दे the entire piece of it. They need partnerships. They need people to support them. They need a B2B, a B2C partnership or a B2G partnership to scale few things which are not in their expertise. So आप भी अपने जब बिजनेस में जब भी रन करने के लिए जाओगे, इसको आगे प्लान करने का सोचोगे और बिल्ड करने का सोचोगे, always think that you alone can do this much, which is perhaps a half an inch you can move. But you can have 100 people along with you, and then working alongside you. Then you're not just working for 8 hours. Your 8 hours plus 100 people into 8 hours. So those are 808 hours working in a single day. When you actually see in a holistic manner. So partnerships, the strategic partnerships, and the people, the team is very, very important to have and to build a right team, to build a right partnership, it is going to cost you fortune. When I say cost you fortune, I don't mean by money. I mean, with the core expertise to find a right partner, it is a very difficult job. Believe me, it's not that easy at all. People do struggle for their life to find the right partnership with respect to their businesses. So yeah, to find that right fit it is absolutely important and equally difficult as well. So make sure जब आप कोई business run कर रहे हो, कुछ बना रहे हो, कुछ build कर रहे हो, you have that right partnership, strategic partnership going on alongside you. Then of course continuously monitoring and adapting basis the changes. As I mentioned in the start itself, there are companies जिन्होंने start किया था, अच्छा build किया था, आज वो company exist नहीं करती है. Okay, give me 2 examples automobiles के अंदर जो company इंडिया में अपना business बंद कर चुकी है. Give me 2 examples.
So one is Chevrolet.
Chevrolet बंद हो गया, correct. What else?
Sir, Ford.
Ford चला गया. और बताओ, आप और भी बता सकते हो इसका.
So Ford ने अपनी सर्विसेज बंद नहीं किया, but डीलरशिप्स अपनी.
Ford ने बंद कर दिया है. Actually, Ford ने manufacturing बंद कर दिया है. So dealership इसलिए on है because Ford has plans to come back in India with EVs. So their petrol and diesel engines are not no longer in the space.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me more examples. Come on.
Hindustan Motors.
Yeah, HM Motors, correct. Hindustan Motors. GM भी चला गया ना. जनरल मोटर्स की जो गाड़ियां थी.
Yes sir, GM भी अभी वाइंड अप कर चुका है इंडिया से.
Okay. So ये कैसे चलेंगे जरा बताओ मुझे. How are they not there anymore? Like मारुति सुजुकी तो है, Hyundai तो है, Toyota तो है. So what do you think went wrong with them?
Sir, customer centric नहीं थे. जो डेवलपमेंट हो रहे थे कार्स के अंदर, न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड द फीचर्स, they cannot provide according to the generation, according to the time, and the services are also degraded time to time, and parts are not available in the open market.
Okay. और कोई बताइए. Why companies such a bigger scale and they close their businesses in India? Why?
One factor can be that they fail to understand the customers. For example, whenever an average Indian decides about taking their first car, Maruti is the first name that comes to the mind because of their affordability and reliability. Furthermore, no one thinks that I would be taking Ford as my first car on a budget. That can be a factor.
Okay. So yeah, I think you mentioned right points. These were and going to be challenges for the companies to come. Continuously adapting the situation. I mean, you see VW. So VW used to sell cars which are like Polo, Emmet, Emilio, and then Passat, and then Vento. All of them are shelved, right? I mean, now they have their 3 segments rather. One is SUV, which is Tiguan, I believe, and then Tiguan, and then this one more car. I'm not just forgetting the name. What's the car name? VW sedan car. The third car.
Vento?
No, not Vento. Vento is discontinued now. So they have replaced Vento with this car. What's the name? Virtus.
Virtus,
Yeah, Virtus. Yeah. So they have adapted the situation accordingly. I mean, there were talks a couple of years back that VW might just close their businesses in India and go. But they have adapted quite swiftly, and they have created that infrastructure here in India in a way where now these cars are actually manufacturing in India, the complete knockdown units. Of course, they do take few units from outside India as well, but eventually they are making in India only. So that's how they've been sustained, from adapting the changes that they should have done, and continuously monitoring the customer behavior, the customer requests, the customer preferences. I mean, you see, a couple of years back, VW would have cost you 15, 20, 25,000 rupees for a service, a simple service for a, let's say, Polo or a Vento. Now, when you take your Virtus to their assembly, first, now they're giving you this whole 5-year scheme of things where every service is actually been taken care of. from the very start, the moment you buy a car, and the roadside assistance, and then even if out of warranty cars, these are actually costing you 8 to 10,000 rupees from the VW itself. So they have optimized in a lot of levels. So that is how continuously monitoring what is the market is saying, what's their preference, what is their sweet spot for my customer is, and adapting accordingly is going to be very, very critical. So I think I'm good to go with from this slide. If you have any questions on this slide, or I can move it forward. Shall I move forward? Guys, please suggest me if I can move forward, or I should stay on this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Can I move on?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please move on.
All right. So this is the matrix that I've developed. The 5 metrics. Again, it's very important. This is nothing but a design thinking matrix. I've just renamed it and did a few things in here and there. So this is very critical when we talk about as a product, or when you're making a product, or when you're thinking as a business as a whole. So all those 5 steps, all these 5 steps which are mentioned is very critical. So you talk about ideate and collaborate. So when I say ideate, I mean you're thinking of an idea, you're thinking of a business, you're thinking of a solution, you're thinking of, let's say, a value proposition, you're thinking of a mode. So ideate in any specific or as a holistic, as a wholesome manner is very critical. So ideation is very important when you, as I mentioned, on any level, किसी भी लेवल पे आप हो, लेकिन आइडिएशन पे ध्यान देना बहुत जरूरी है. अदरवाइज यू विल मिस द बिगर पिक्चर ऑफ इट. क्योंकि अगर आप बड़ा पिक्चर देख के छोटे पे ध्यान दे के नहीं चलेंगे तो आपका जो बिजनेस का एक ओवरऑल स्ट्रक्चर जो सही बनना चाहिए था वो बनेगा नहीं. कोलैबोरेट मैं ऑलरेडी मेंशन कर चुका हूँ. आई थिंक आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड इट बिफोर इन द लास्ट स्लाइड. कोलैबोरेशन विद राइट पीपल विद द राइट अमाउंट ऑफ partners is very important. Testing, we have discussed, you test your product with humans, you test your product with the right fit, with the right people, and get the feedback from. So when you get a feedback from them, you tend to see what are those productivity that you need to take care of, and then getting the faster results. So testing and getting the feedback is very important whenever you're trying for a new product or a new idea or a business or a solution or a mode, differentiator factor, anything. We talk about prototypes. Again, जब आपको start करते हो तो आप उसका एक sketch बनाते हो, एक छोटा सा एक ऐसा रूप बनाते हो जो at least आप try कर सकते हो. For example, let's say if you are making a bottle, so आप cap शायद नहीं लगाओगे, या cap बाद में लगाओगे, ऊपर का जो उसका रैपिंग होता है रैप नहीं लगाओगे, शायद बाद में टेस्ट करोगे उसको लेके. बट गेटिंग अ बॉटल डन, गेटिंग अ बॉटल मेड, वो सबसे पहले आपका काम रहेगा कि मैं पहले एक बॉटल बना लूं. शेप साइज देखा जाएगा जैसा बनेगा, बट इवेंचुअली पहले मेरा एक बॉटल बनके रेडी हो जाए, देन आई कैन सी व्हाट आर दोस थिंग्स जो मुझे उसके अंदर करेक्ट करना है. सिमिलरली आपका जो एम्पैथाइज है, एम्पैथाइज इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई एम श्योर यू गाइस अंडरस्टैंड. सो व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड योर कस्टमर टू द एम्पैथी लेवल, अगर आपको ये समझ में आता है ना कि मेरे कस्टमर का फीडबैक या मेरे कस्टमर का रिस्पॉन्स मेरे किसी एक्शन से स्पेसिफिकली कैसा ड्राइव होगा, देन यू आर एट अ राइट प्लेस, देन यू आर इन अ राइट बिजनेस wherein you can actually do something good or justified to your customer because you are empathizing with them. Okay, give me example from your own life. जब आपको लगा हो कि आप कुछ खरीदने के लिए गए या आपने कोई सर्विस किसी से लिया और सामने वाले ने एम्पैथाइज करके आपके लिए उस सर्विस को चेंज किया, मोल्ड किया, या आपको बेटर दिया. गिव मी वन एग्जांपल फ्रॉम एनीवन्स लाइफ. One example of empathy.
It might not be specifically related to that, but during the pandemic, when people were purchasing the groceries, many shopkeepers were giving away the masks and the protective equipment, such as gloves, free of cost, so that the customers can be safe.
Nice. It is empathy. Absolutely. What else, guys? Give me one more example of empathy. कभी ऐसा हुआ है, let's say you're there, कभी आप जो लोग गाड़ी जिनके पास गाड़ी है, आपने कार क्लीन करवाने के लिए आप गए, एंड देन आपने बोला कि ठीक है, जनरली जब कार क्लीन होती है, लेट्स से अगर आउटर शेल क्लीन होना होता है तो आउटर शेल पूरा क्लीन होता है, जो इंटीरियर्स हैं उसके पैसे एक्स्ट्रा होते हैं, एंड देन व्हेन यू आस्क समबडी टू क्लीन योर इंटीरियर एंड देन पॉलिश इट, तो पॉलिशिंग के अलग होते हैं. So I've got couple of polishing free from my this vendor that I used to go with. So I used to pay full initially, but then they started giving me that polish for free. So in a whole package, generally जब किसी को 800 रुपए कर देने होते थे, मुझे 500-600 रुपए देके मेरा काम हो जाता था. So empathy नहीं है. So it was a delight that I used to get. So it's nothing related to empathy here, but a delight that I used to get as a customer. So ये मैं वहाँ बात कर रहा हूँ जो आपने टेस्टिंग का जिक्र किया कि so they used to ask me for a feedback when I used to go out. So they used to give me a piece of page. I used to pick it up. So they make sure, generally they used to make sure that I give 10 out of 10. Even अगर मैंने 9 भी दिया है, they used to question me, सर मुझे बताओ क्या कमी रह गया, आपका गाड़ी कहाँ से अभी ठीक नहीं है, साफ नहीं हुआ है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है. So just tell me, I'll make sure that it should go to 10. I mean, I cannot be happy with 9. I rather have 10. So इसमें मैं वो एक extra point add कर रहा हूँ कि the moment you think as a seller, you have to think for the delight of the customer. You have to delight the customer to the core. You're selling anything. You're selling anything. आपका शॉप है, आप कैब सर्विसेज दे रहे हो, आपने कपड़ों का शॉप खोला हुआ है, you have plant shop, आप plant sell करते हो, you're selling tea, you're selling good services, restaurant, anything. Make sure that your customer is delighted when they go out. अच्छा ठीक है, ये एग्जांपल बताओ, अगर कभी कोई पिज्जा हट गया and have you seen that bell, the bell on the door while you exit? देखा है किसी ने वो?
Yes.
कभी आपने उसको बेल को पुश किया है, बेल को बजाया है, कभी देखा है? Have you pressed the bell?
Yes sir.
Okay, तो उसका सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? बेल सिग्निफाई क्या करता है?
सर वो बेल सिग्निफाई करता है कि आपका you have enjoyed the meal and the atmosphere of and service of the Pizza Hut, and you are heartily gratitude by the services of the Pizza Hut.
Yeah, right. So I don't know now because I don't go out and eat junk anymore. But I remember a couple of years back, sometime around, let's say 2014-15, I believe, perhaps 13-14, few years back, when we used to go to Pizza Hut and we used to exit. So there used to be a lady standing on the Pizza Hut exit door. So I stay in Delhi, I'm in Noida, but at that point of time I used to stay in Delhi. So there was Pizza Hut near Preet Vihar. I don't know whether you guys are familiar or not, but so there was this Pizza Hut, and then this lady used to ask us or tell us or request us, can you please press the bell if you have enjoyed the meal? And generally क्या होता है कि जब आप बाहर निकल रहे होते हो and somebody asks you this question, so we Indians tend to have this modesty in us कि हम लोग generally बोलेंगे नहीं कि हमारा आपका खाना बुरा था, अगर बुरा लगा भी हुआ, you generally say हाँ ठीक है अच्छा था. But then that bell signifies to all of the other people that these people were happy, satisfied, and they were delighted. तो एक आपके सबकॉन्शियस दिमाग में ये जाता है जब बाकी लोग बैठा होता है कि ठीक है यार उनका बड़ा अच्छा they enjoyed the meal, and then फिर वैसा ही होता था. We used to see people coming out and then everybody is pressing the bell. I don't know अभी होता है नहीं होता मुझे नहीं पता, but पहले तो they used to ask this thing. So that was nothing but to create that aura, the sense of gratification, the sense of satisfaction in the customer mind. Ki boss, you enjoyed the meal, you loved it, and thanks for giving us feedback through pressing the bell. So make sure when you test, you define your purposes, you define your prototypes, and you ideate enough. You make a product which is a good market fit. People should be delighted with your product. Shall I move forward? The next slide.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So these are few things. I call it a life model. So again, I'll just end up here. Finishing this slide, and then we can have the question answers. I think curiosity, empathy, collaboration, logic, reframing, and imagination, humility, and intonation. These are 8 things which I have collaborated in my life. These are 8 things which are mentioned here as a life model. So these are things as a life model for me. So I thought it's worth mentioning to you guys as well. When you create your chakra, when you create your body, when you create the life in a bigger span, तो आप थोड़ा ये 8 चीजों के बारे में जरूर ध्यान रखना लाइफ में. Being in any of these 8 areas, I mean, always look for curiosity. Always, I mean, you have to be curious, a curiositive guy, or you have that curiositive mind where you see different prospects and different perspectives with the people. So and learning from them. So make sure कि आपकी curiosity कभी मरा नहीं है. आप हर चीज को लेके curiosity आपके अंदर होना चाहिए कि ये क्या है, इसमें नया क्या है, लोगों के जो लोगों के नए perspectives होते हैं. You're learning, you're understanding the difference of it. You're understanding the right sense of it. So उस curiosity को भी मरने नहीं देना. And if it's not there, then I'm sure you'll imbibe eventually. Being empathetic, it's a bliss. So once you have empathy in you, then आपको फिर उस रिक्शा वाले का पेन भी फील होगा. You'll exactly pain the feel of that rickshaw wala, somebody riding that rickshaw in a hot summer, in a not hot summer of 48 degree or 50 degree. फिर आप अपनी गाड़ी से ना उसको honk नहीं करोगे. फिर you won't honk him out or her out that why you're there on the road and blocking my way. Because eventually you'll understand the bigger picture of it. कोई भी ये 1-2 मिनट जल्दी पहुंचने से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता या लेट पहुंचने से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Eventually life is giving us enough spaces and enough opportunities. So make sure your empathy is at the right place. And इसको आप अगर business sense में भी देखोगे ना, in your value proposition and in your business fit, it will fit exactly the same. Because if you are a curiositive guy, आपके अंदर curiosity अगर अच्छे से है, then you will find different means within your team and to find the right value prop for the customer. If you're empathy or आप empathetic हो, आपके अंदर empathy है, so you will empathize with your customer, with your stakeholder, with your investors, with your team. अगर आपका right collaborative mindset है, so you will understand every stakeholder in the company or in the project or in life is important. Your mother is equally important as your sister. Your sister is equally and easily important as your colleague. Your colleague is equally important as your peon. और everybody is important, because जब आप सक्सेस की तरफ जा रहे होते हो ना, तो everybody's contribution is equally important. जो सुबह आपको उठाने से लेके आपको अगर कोई चाय पिलाता है, आपकी मेड आती है आपको चाय पिलाती है, उसका भी उतना ही बड़ा योगदान है, उतना ही बड़ा कोलैबोरेशन उसका कोलैबोरेटिव इंपॉर्टेंस है जितना किसी और का है. So make sure you collaborate with people in a right sense. You talk about logics, of course, illogical hona, it's not good in the business sense, in the business fit sense. So logically business को देखना, logically life को देखना, logically अपने value prop को देखना, अपने intent को देखना is very, very important, because that is going to be the future. That is going to be the future for you. Because अगर आप illogical हो, आपका creative mindset उतना नहीं है, और आप बड़े unstructured रखते हो अपनी thoughts को, probably would not help you. So make sure your logics are at the right place. Reframing, of course, reframing is nothing but जब आप continuously reframe करते रहते हो problem and solutions को अपनी life में, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आप जब अपना different perspective देखने की कोशिश करते हो in a single object or subject, you will understand कि okay, I can take this question, I can take this problem through the different route. So जैसे बोलते हैं कि अगर there is a saying कि अगर गॉड अगर एक रास्ता बंद करता है तो 10 और खोल देता है या 100 और खोल देता है, जो लोग भी बिलीवर है. सो बिलीवर हो या नहीं उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बट इवेंचुअली ऑलवेज रिमेंबर व्हेन देयर इज one thing which is stopping you, find the other route or find the other way to reach to the final destination. So there is always an option, there is always a different different speed, different scale to reach to the final destination. So make sure you reframe every time whenever you're in a situation where you find, okay, this problem is not not getting solved, then find and reframe it, the problem completely, and then find a different solution to the reframed problem that you have mentioned. Then we talk about imagination. I believe that's my thorough belief in that, that entrepreneurs are imaginative. I mean, these are creative people and imaginative people. I mean, I can imagine my life 50 years from now, year by year. That is how strong my imagination is. That I can actually think, I can see it through. That what is I'm going to do after 6 months? What is that I'm doing after 1.5 months? What I'm doing after five years? I think this is a very common question people do ask in interviews. That what are your plans in 5 years? What are you thinking, or what are you seeing yourself after you're doing after 3 years, 10 years down the line? So those questions are basically imaginative questions. So you have to imagine, create this world, create this metaverse in your life where you can actually see, okay, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm going to achieve after a certain period of time. Similarly, humility, you have to be humble in life. I mean, it's equally important as empathy and others. It's a bliss. If you're humble enough, if your humility at the right place, at the right corner, you intend to create those products, create those services which are absolutely fit to the market, because then you will understand through the empathy, the customer behavior, you'll understand the market very well. You'll be grounded all the time, and you'll take the criticism in the right manner, because eventually I've seen people not getting the criticism in the right way, and they tend to miss the bus big time, because eventually when the time came, when the people giving you enough feedbacks and giving you a right amount of knowledge of what you need to change as a product or as a service or as a company, at that point of time you being arrogant, and you were not humble enough to accept the reality of it. So be humble, make sure that you are accepting the right feedback in the right manner, and your intuition, as we say, the gut feeling. So I call it a heart feeling. Actually, I don't know, people do call it a gut feel, but I say it's a heart feeling. So when your heart is saying something very, very promptly to you, that okay, this is what you need to do, this is gonna work, or this may not work, but you'll be happy doing it. So make sure you're actually listening to your gut, you're actually listening to your heart, and following the right path that you need to follow as a business, as an individual, as a student, so that eventually in a bigger scale, in a bigger schema of it, of course you will end up being a small cog in the big universe, but that small cog in the right corner would do wonders for the world. So, and you can do that. Just make sure that you listen to your intuitions right. So I think, yeah, that is my life model, which is 5:2:1, and I follow it through and through. I'm sure this can help you in your business, in your life, and as a whole. So thank you, guys. I am open to the questions and answers now. I think I can stop sharing the screen. Okay. Yeah, I'm open for the questions now.
Yeah, any comments? Karan Verma thanks you for the session. He says, I run a small AI-powered business providing assignment solutions to students from various universities. The earnings are seasonal, September to June, and we recently had a turnover of 2.5 lakhs with a net profit of rupees 1.80 lakhs. I would appreciate your insights on maximizing earnings during peak months, sustaining growth in the off-season, cost-saving measures, or any advice on diversification strategies would be greatly appreciated.
Sure, Karan. It is very limited knowledge for me. As you mentioned, I won't be able to answer you here on this platform as of now, because I need to have a deep dive to understand what you exactly sell, what are those assignments look like, what is the target customer, what is that margin that you're selling to, then exactly how big your team size is, how much it can scale, So these are a few questions, and there'll be more questions once I deep dive into it. I'll be happy to share my email. Drop your deck to me. I'm not really sure that I'm actually available for next 1.5 weeks. I'm super busy with one of my US clients. But yeah, for sure, post 2 weeks, I'm sure I'll be have some light days. I can sit back with you and then understand your business and can give whatever insight I can give you. So I'll just drop my email ID on at the chat, so you guys can just probably have a look. But make sure that you don't bombard the mailbox with too many mails. If you have any questions, just write in one email. I'll appreciate if you can just wait for another 2 weeks, because as I mentioned, I'm not available for the next 2 weeks starting tomorrow. Yeah. Any question, guys?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Shivam. Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask what VPEX is all about.
Okay, so VPEX is an investment banking arm. So we work closely with clients in different sectors, in different segments. We work across pharma, we work across drones, we work across various segments, in fact. So far, I have a small clientele of seven companies. All the companies are in Series A and beyond. So the maximum that I'm looking for, or I'm advising a company which is in Series E. So these are the companies that we are advising. We are advising on different level, different fronts. We are advising on financial pieces. We are advising on the business end. We are advising on the strategic piece. We are advising on the legal front of it. We take care of the fundraise, and then of course the SHAs, and then converting those deals into the reality, and then closing the deals, of course. Yeah, that is it pretty much. That is it what I do.
Okay, sir.
I have a team of close to 8 people as of now. So yeah, that is how we're working.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Then we are coming with the product which is already available. To create difference in difficult, difference is difficult. Like you gave example of Apple, how we can improve or target thing to make things unique. Dimple, I think we've already discussed it. So when you're making a product, or when you're creating something different in the existing portfolio, or somebody, let's say, as we have already discussed about Apple and Samsung, so फिर आप क्या करोगे? आपको कोई डिफरेंशिएशन डालने के लिए सोचना पड़ेगा कि मेरा जो प्रोडक्ट है तो उसका प्रोडक्ट है, पहले मैं उसका प्रोडक्ट देख लेता हूँ, फिर उसके प्रोडक्ट में लेट मी सी व्हाट ऑल प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर. फॉर एग्जांपल, यू नीड टू स्पीक टू द पीपल. Let's say I'm an Android user. You need to ask me questions or ask me the cons of Android or cons of Samsung or that XYZ product, and what are those areas that I'm feeling as a looking as a problem कि मुझे ये solution नहीं मिल रहा इसका यार. I mean, these are some hang issues, some heat issues, or let's say my message got jammed sometime. I don't get calls promptly. My audio is not that clear. After using 2 years or 3 years of the phone, the speaker is not performing as well as it used to be. So all these questions, I'm just framing these questions basis what I'm just since we're talking as example of Apple. So I don't know what exactly product that you're going to be in the market, or you will be thinking to produce as in the market. But think of a product, and then if the market is already there, then go in for a research of primary and secondary. उसके अंदर आपको जो प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट है ना, वो कस्टमर ही बता देगा. And then you will understand, ठीक है, ये इसका प्रॉब्लम है ना, तो ये 5 प्रॉब्लम if I can solve with my product, then this differentiator is absolutely there, क्योंकि ये मार्केट में नहीं है. So that is how you have to come with that creative part of it.
Thank you, Mr. Udit. There is one question from Mirali. She says, in value proposition without patent and all such stuff, if someone copies the solution, then we should continue our own product as it was, or continuously bring changes so as to stay ahead. Which one would be better?
Yeah, I'm just going to read it out. Without patent and all such stuff, if someone copies the solution, then we should continue. Okay, so see, if your idea or the product is patentable, you can patent it and design and the product both, or the service. If you can patent it, then it is absolutely worth going for patent. Because it helps in a longer run for sure, and it adds the credibility and the that uniqueness in your business, that you have this idea which is patented. But despite the fact, let's say if there is something which cannot be patented, and somebody is there. For example, मैं एक छोटा example देता हूँ. Let's say जो shack रहते हैं, let's say shack restaurant होते हैं, छोटे-छोटे shacks पे restaurant लग जाता है, और किसी का रेस्टोरेंट बहुत अच्छा चल रहा होता है. इफ यू कैन सी, अगर आपके आसपास कोई मार्केट है, लेट्स से देयर इज दिस वन मोमो वाला और वन रेस्टोरेंट, और सिमिलरली वो भी चाइनीज बेच रहा है या वो भी नॉर्थ इंडियन फूड बेच रहा है, एंड देयर इज अनदर रेस्टोरेंट जस्ट नेक्स्ट टू द रेस्टोरेंट, और उसके पास भीड़ नहीं है, एंड यू विल सी दैट, आप अपने मार्केट के आसपास देखना, यू विल सी दैट हैपनिंग मोर ऑफ्टन. व्हाई दैट हैपेंस? हाउ दैट हैपेंस? इट हैपेंस व्हाई? बिकॉज आपके प्रोडक्ट, आपकी सर्विस के अंदर अगर वो क्वालिटी ऑफ टेस्ट, अभी फिलहाल इसकी रेस्टोरेंट की बात इसलिए कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज इट हैज दिस डिफरेंशिएटर बिटवीन द टेस्ट. अगर एक टेस्ट अच्छा लग गया तो आप उसी के पास जाओगे, और दूसरे का टेस्ट अच्छा लगा तो नहीं जाओगे. तो सिमिलरली देखो, मार्केट इतना बड़ा है, 7.5 billion और क्लोज टू 8 billion पीपल ऑन द मदर अर्थ, राइट? वी स्टिल हैव enough space for everybody in every segment of it. Whether it's pharma, medical, non-medical, electronics, computer science, whatever it is. I mean, you name it, and we have still enough space. I mean, I keep on getting hundreds of applications from startups. Of course, we do reject a lot of them basis their understanding, basis their readiness, basis what we see and what we are able to judge. उसके बेसिस पे करना ही पड़ता है रिजेक्ट. बट इवेंचुअली व्हाट वी वांट टू सी दैट ओके, देयर आर पीपल जो एक सिंपल ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस को मॉडर्नाइज कैसे कर सकते हैं, मॉडर्नाइज कैसे करना चाहते हैं. देयर आर इनफ प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट इन द वर्ल्ड, आई मीन इनफ प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट इन द वर्ल्ड, जिसके ऊपर अभी सोल्यूशन नहीं है, या सोल्यूशन बहुत कम है, या सोल्यूशन के अंदर मल्टीपल सोल्यूशंस पॉसिबल है. सो मिराली, व्हेन यू गो फॉर अ वैल्यू प्रॉप, अगर आपका पेटेंट नहीं है और कोई कॉपी कर भी लेता है, डोंट अफ्रेड बेटा. आई मीन it still have enough to fuel, it still have enough to offer to people. So don't think twice to not to continue. Of course you have to continue. रही बात उसमें चेंजेस लाने की, that is the need of the hour. आप anyway ये नहीं सोच सकते हो कि जो साल पहले हो रहा था वो आज भी हो रहा होगा. People would change, their taste would change, their preferences would change. You need to adapt quickly, and as the time changes, of course change is very much required. Yeah,
Dimple Nahata has asked a question. She says, when we are coming with the product which is already available, to create difference becomes difficult. For example, Apple, the example was given, and how we can improve or target things to make things unique. That is what she wants to know.
Have I missed the question? Sorry, your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking, Dr. Sujata. To me, maybe my network issues.
Are you getting me now?
I'm getting you now. Yeah.
What she wants to know is how we can improve or the target things so that they are unique, to add that element of uniqueness into the products. How to do that?
See, it's a very open-ended question. I mean, it all depends on the product, on the service, on the market. Why are you actually doing that? See, आप लोग एक बात को भूलो मत. I think मैंने बोला था ये वाला बात. It's very important to do something because you really want to do it. I really wanted to become an investment banker. That's why I'm an investment banker. I really wanted to do that. मैं टाइम पास के लिए नहीं शुरू किया था कि मुझे बस करना है तो मैं कुछ तो कर लूंगा लाइफ में. वो मैंने कर लिया. 11-12 साल जब काम किया तो मैंने कर लिया जो करना था. But eventually, अभी what I'm doing right now in my life, I'm doing something which I'm passionate of. I can do it day and night, morning, evening, whatever it is. I can do that. So make sure कि जो आप कर रहे हो, पहले उसमें अपना vision, purpose लेके आओ, that you're very very sure of doing that thing with absolute 100% grit and possibilities. If you can do that, you will 100% find that value prop that you're going to give, because eventually आप करोगे क्या ना, because since you believe from the heart, you will come up with the right product fit, you will come up with the right value prop, you will come up with the right differentiator factor from the existing portfolio. Otherwise, आप अगर उसको ABC को copy करके सोचोगे, okay, they were making big money, I can do that same for my business as well. No, that is not how a startup works. As I mentioned before, startup is लगता बहुत hunky dory, it's very glorified, but it's not. It's absolutely dark. When I say dark, you have to cry, you have to sweat. आपको केबिन में बैठ के काम नहीं करना है, आपको रोड पे खड़े होकर आपको लोगों के बीच में जाके काम करना है. धूप हो, छांव हो, बारिश हो, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It should not matter. और आप तब करोगे when you actually feel right for that product because you're fed from the heart. Copy करोगे, you might end up doing something fishy in life, or maybe not right in life.
And there are a few more questions and a few more hands raised out.
Sure.
Ashish and Sonali want to ask some questions, but I'll ask them to wait. First, I'll read out the questions which have been put up by other participants.
Sure.
Shafat asked, on what stage the IPO comes in market?
Oh, IPO generally comes in after the M&A, or before M&A. Sorry, after M&A. Sorry, after M&A it comes in the comes as an IPO. Or generally people skip M&A, then Series E. Perhaps Series E is the last stage where post that you can just go for the IPO. Because the company that I'm advising, these people are in Series E. We are raising close to $60 million. Post that, the plan is to have $200 million, but I'm sure that is not going to be from the PE. So PE is private equity, or the VC, which is venture capital. So we will not do that. We might have it through the IPO only. So yeah, I think Series E and M&A is just after that you can go for IPO.
And Anwar Sadat is asking, if I have an idea, can I file for patent? Not product, just the idea. He wants
I'm not an expert of patent though, but you cannot patent the idea. I mean, no, you can't.
Very right, very right. And Karan Verma has replied to that. And Sumanta Baswas says, first I'll ask Ashish Panwar to please come forward and ask
Sure.
what the questions he has. Ashish, please.
Hello. Yeah, I'm audible there.
Yeah, Ashish, audible. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm out somewhere. Maybe if you will find any kind of disturbance, please inform me, sir. But still, I have to raise a question there. Actually, मेरे को ये पूछना था. Whenever we search for some kind of partner for our organization or for any kind of thing, I mean, mostly this kind of problem usually comes that they usually say as a layman always get a kind of payroll, है ना? Let's say payroll पे they used to work. So whenever I mean, employees के लिए always these are the benefits definitely they get that कि payroll पर काम करते हैं, so they are able to expend. I mean, they are able to incur their expenses there. But particularly for an organization, अगर मैं उसके लिए कोई एक अपना partner search out करता हूँ, तो it become very difficult for me to get an approval upon it that you won't get a payroll, but certainly you will get some kind of profits or commission or a kind of freelancer activity you can get from my organization. So in order to curb such kind of challenges, what I can do, this is particularly a problem which I'm facing on a day-to-day basis.
अगर मैं सही समझूं आपका question, तो I think you are trying to frame the question in two parts of it. One, आप किसी को payroll पे रखते हो, तो definitely it's an employee mindset. He or she will be happy. अगर आप उसको किसी third party के साथ associate करके उसको ये बोल रहे हो कि I can get you some benefits, but I won't be able to give you that much of money, और payroll के ऊपर आपका जो भी benefit रहता है वो नहीं दे पाऊंगा.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's suppose with an example, just LIC. We are. This word is one of the known well. Just LIC. Yeah. If you are able to get it, then please answer it, sir.
Yeah. So इसका बहुत simple answer है राशिद. I mean, it's very simple. मैं खुद बहुत fail हुआ हूँ to find the right team who can actually work for me on the same vision that I'm trying to work. I finally got it.
One more, sir. एक point और मैं बोलना चाहूँगा because एक सबसे बड़ी problem जो मेरे साथ आई थी when I was establishing one of my organizations, a little bit lag part there. तो मैं marketing outsource के लिए निकला था. I was looking for a marketing outsource company, and I shake hand with certain companies, but I wasn't been able to fuel up that much of income, और उनके जो employees वगैरह तो उनको मैं income नहीं दे पा रहा था. But I promised them कि जो भी हमारा royalty होगा या whatever जो भी income हमारी generate होगी, तो उसको हम एक divide करेंगे part में. But not a single company approve upon it. So ये problem मेरे साथ हमेशा आती है.
ये होता है and it's मैंने जैसे पहले बोला ना, it is going to be difficult. It is very difficult to find the right partnerships, to right partners, to find right team, the core team, and it is going to be the challenge. I mean इसको कोई right answer नहीं है आशीष. It's not कि मैं आपको कुछ अभी बता दूंगा तो आप वो apply कर लोगे and it will help you out. No, it's not. It's just that you need to wait patiently, speak with heart out, speak with the right intent, speak with the right vision. आपको इसको कुछ इस तरह से लो कि जब आप किस चीज के बारे में बता रहे होते हो ना, let's say you're telling about your business, it should feel like that it's your baby. It should feel like that it's your own baby जिसको आपने पैदा करके अभी उसको बड़ा करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. And then when you're finding the parent for it, क्योंकि आप उसके लिए फिर पेरेंट ढूंढने की कोशिश कर रहे हो ना, who can take care of that baby and run alongside, then आपको उसको वो इतना शिद्दत से बोलना है, इतना ग्रिट से बोलना है कि या इतना समझाना उतने अच्छे से है कि ओके दिस बेबी जो अभी शायद क्रॉल कर रहा है, मे बी क्रॉल भी नहीं कर रहा है, ये आगे जाके मिल्खा सिंह बनने वाला है या पीटी उषा बनने वाला है या सचिन तेंदुलकर बनने वाला है. सो अभी इसको सेंस ऐसे लेना कि मैं जब बेबी की बात कर रहा हूं, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट बिजनेस, एंड व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट दीज सचिन तेंदुलकर ऑफ द लाइफ और XYZ नेम जो मैंने लिए हैं, ये सब आप सोचो कि बड़ी बड़ी कंपनी से जो आप एग्जांपल्स स्टेट कर रहे हो, तो एक वही तरीका है जो आप लोगों को थोड़ा सा कन्विंस कर सकते हो इन योर आइडिया एंड देन बिलीव इन व्हाट यू आर सेइंग. अदरवाइज मैं खुद उस चैलेंज से गया हूं यार, तो आई कांट टेल यू एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज द राइट वे टू रीच आउट टू पीपल एंड कन्विंस देम unless you can convince them. So yeah.
Then Sonali has a question. Sonali, you may please come forward.
Hello sir. I have this business idea which I haven't really started the idea business, but like I just created the website for it, and the idea is quite similar to Urban Clap or Mr. Right, but with improvements that Urban Clap or Mr. Right did not have. So my question is how to actually start, because I have heard this from Facebook that when you start a business, we first need to focus on the small part, and if it works there, if it's successful on small group of people, only then you should expand your business.
Absolutely.
Yes. But in my case, as I said, it's quite similar to Urban Clap. I don't know how to get those small people or small customers.
So Urban Clap is doing so many things. Now you don't have to do so many things at once. So Pinchit, I think Dr. Jata ने mention किया होगा. So Pinchit was a company in house help जो मैंने build किया था. I sold it out. I sold it to a very young investor, and then I exited. वो company बंद हो गया because the thing was उसका बड़ा simple reason था कंपनी बंद होने का और नहीं चलती था. I was in a, तो I think ये तब की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, ये 2019 से तो मैंने Pinchit खोला था, but उसके पहले जब Urban Clap नहीं था 2014 से पहले, I've already did that in Chandigarh. So I started in Sector 35. I used to give them the services of AC mechanics. I used to give them the services of this house help services, car cleaning services, gardening services, ये आपका धोबी वाला सर्विसेज, तो लॉन्ड्री सर्विसेज रहता है वो सब. तो मैंने 5-6 सर्विस के साथ शुरू किया था, because I collaborated with people and मैंने उनको ऑनबोर्ड करके कुछ पैसा देके put on hold. It went really successful for 3-4 months, 5 months in fact there in Sector 35. But to scale that level, to scale पे ले जाने के लिए I needed funding. और उस समय पे ये इतना VC funding, ये स्टार्टअप इतना सब नहीं था. 10-11 की बात कर रहा हूँ, तब इतना सब हल्ला नहीं था मार्केट में. So for that reason, I think मेरा जो shift था, what I shifted to something else, my MBA and all of that, वो अलग कहानी चला गया. But eventually, अगर आप शुरू करना चाहते हो, start with one. That one thing which you believe can change from Urban Clap to. Example, let's say आपके यहाँ पे अगर AC सर्विस करने वाला आता है, तो AC सर्विस करने वाला जब Urban Clap बुलाते हो ना, उसके बाद वो अपना नंबर देके जाता है और वो सिंपली बोल के जाता है, सर अगर आपको नेक्स्ट टाइम बुलाना हो, just call me directly, don't do it via Urban Clap.
Yes, that's for personal calls instead of to company.
So understand why they do it.
Because company I think 20% commission खाती है for every.
करेगा ना बेटा, आपको भी करना पड़ेगा. धंधे को उतरोगे कैसे? अगर आपने बिजनेस करना है तो बिजनेस में कमीशन ही तो बनेगा आपका. आप डायरेक्टली तो अपने पेरोल पे तो किसी को रखोगे नहीं, because then you make losses. because your operational expense would be too high. Then how would you make yourself as a EBITDA positive? You won't be able to do that. So आपको करना क्या पड़ेगा? आपको थर्ड पार्टी हायर नहीं करना पड़ेगा, कोलैबोरेट करना पड़ेगा. और थर्ड पार्टी कोलैबोरेट करोगे तो आपको सीधी सी बात है, वो बोलेगा सर मैं 500 तो लूंगा ही लूंगा. उससे ऊपर अगर आपको चार्ज करना तो आप करो. अब मार्केट में अगर रेट ही 750 है, अब 700 कर लोगे तो 200 तो आप ही कमाओगे ना. एंड द मोमेंट दैट गाय कम्स टू माय हाउस, तो मेरे को भी सेम बात बोलेगा कि सर आप उनको 750 देते हो, मुझे 600 दे देना, मैं खुद से सामने से करता हूँ. तो उसका तो फायदा हो गया ना. वो 500 में अदरवाइज काम करता इंडिविजुअली, अब वो 600 में काम कर रहा है क्योंकि मेरे को फोन नंबर देके गया और आपको 0 रुपए मिलेंगे. सो दिस होल मॉडल ऑफ working as urban company, it has some flaws. It has a lot of flaws in fact. उसको cater करने के लिए there are few things कुछ NDA sign करने पड़ते हैं. So it's a long conversation. I can do that. अभी मेरा एक 1:45 मेरा बिल्कुल hard stop है. I had a client meeting. So I hope you understand सोनाली कि इसको करने के लिए आपको छोटा शुरू करना पड़ेगा. आपको बड़ा नहीं करना है.
सोनाली, आप रीजन को शॉर्ट कीजिए, अपना एरिया को शॉर्ट कीजिए, रेंज ऑफ सर्विसेज यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग उसको लिमिट कीजिए, इससे आपको रास्ता मिल जाएगा.
बहुत ज्यादा करेंगे तो नहीं होगा. बहुत ज्यादा करेंगे सोनाली तो हो ही नहीं पाएगा. बिलीव मी, यू विल जस्ट बर्न योरसेल्फ, बर्न योर मनी. इट वोंट वर्क. स्टार्ट विद जस्ट वन सर्विस.
सर वही तो मतलब मैंने वेबसाइट बना ली, मेरे पे थोड़े बहुत नंबर भी आ गए क्राफ्ट्समैन के, बट I don't know how to get the customers. I mean, paid.
How to get a customer? That's a very good question. How to get a customer? I think it's a very simple answer. Go into the market, go into the people's house, go to your society, knock the door, do it yourself. Don't expect people to come on your website. People won't come to your website because आपका website का खर्चा 1.5 करोड़ रुपए महीने का नहीं है.
Start with your friends and family. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm interrupting.
Simple, absolutely, ma'am, absolutely right.
Friends of the neighbors. And quickly, Mr. Adit, I'll take one more question quickly, and
Sure.
then we can wind down.
Sure.
This is a question by Sumanta Biswas. He says that I run small tea vendor business where I provide tea to nearby offices from local tea shops. So he wants to maintain tea taste and quality from every shop. And he says provide tea making training to shopkeepers. Ibrahim, please अपना mute कर लीजिए. Mute कीजिए.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Nigerian, Adamu Ibrahim. Can we get the product here in Nigeria?
What you want to get, the recording?
Yeah. Sorry. Can we get the product here in Nigeria? I am in Nigeria, Adamu Ibrahim.
What product are you talking about, Ibrahim?
Sir?
What product are you talking about?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Ibrahim. Yeah, go ahead. Just tell me what product are you talking about? Which product are you, like, which things are you talking about? Okay, anyway, move on. Yeah,
and the other thing is, one is to provide tea making training to shop owners or tea makers, or standardize my tea making formula to them, or any other inputs to scale and maintain the same quality and taste of it should be taste of tea.
Okay, so yeah, I just opened the chat box. I can see the question, how can I maintain the tea and quality of the every shop? Okay, so you need to specify, Samantha, how many shops you have, how many tea shops or shacks you have, what sort of formulation that you already use, because eventually when you scale at a larger level, you need to have SOPs to scale. So what are your current SOPs that you're following, whether they are justifying or satisfying your business needs or not? If not, then of course you need to change or pivot in the SOPs and in the formulations. If the staff behavior is the issue, then the behavior is one problem. If the staff making tea is another issue, then it actually boils down to the core product, the core essence of it, which means the taste of the tea would get hampered. So the question is right, but the question revolves around a lot of questions. So as I mentioned, if you can just figure out all of these things, then you will understand that, okay, abhi mera फॉर्मुलेशन में ही प्रॉब्लम है तो मुझे फॉर्मुलेशन पे काम करना है। मेरा जो शॉप ऑनर या जो मेरे शॉप का जो क्या बोलते हैं उसको, ऑनर तो नहीं बोलेंगे ना, who is making the tea. So the guy who's making the tea is the problem. Then वो एक प्रॉब्लम आपको सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. So I'm sure आपको ये समझ में आता है अगर आप कभी if you want to really check, then go and check the working style of Chai Sutta Bar. So these people are doing all right, I think okay. क्योंकि तो उनका प्राइसिंग बहुत ही ज़्यादा स्क्रूड है. It's 10, 15, 20 rupees, which is again very economical. ऊपर से उसी प्राइस में वो आपको AC में बैठा के चाय पिला रहे हैं. आप वही चाय बाहर नुक्कड़ पे खड़े होकर पीते हो 10 रुपए की या 12-15 रुपए की या 20 रुपए की, which is again on the road, on the go. Hygiene is a big issue. It is going to be big issue any which way going down the line. अगर अभी नहीं है तो so वो आपको AC में बैठा के थोड़ा हाइजेनिक वे में चाय पिला रहे हैं. It's a good tea. I've had it once and twice. So अगर आपको वो देखना है कि किस तरह से उसकी फंक्शनिंग होनी है, then go for a competition, which is again Chai Sutta Bar might be a competition, I'm sure.
There is one more query left, Mr. Adit. It is about I'm by Suraj Pal. I'm the proprietor of a business. I've registered trademark. My product is women apparels, t-shirts. I'm also manufacturing the same. I'm selling my product on Amazon and Meesho. Still, I am about to build some other aspects of my business that can grow, but not getting how to do it and where to initiate a new way to grow. Can you suggest something?
Yeah, it's again very open-ended. I'm not really sure what are you looking for, but I can 100% suggest you to go to the nearest incubation that you have. The nearest incubation, the nearest advisory firm, just like us. So we charge very high. So we are the apples of our industry. We charge very good amount. The only reason to that is to understand where and how to make a business run. And we don't generally take care of or take into consideration any company which is before or early series or not in the pre-series or not in a series A level, because then it comes to a level where we need to involve ourselves too much. But आपके लिए जो solution है, then go for an incubation. Incubation would be a right fit for you because eventually they will have multiple mentors. They will have right amount of people to advise you on the level. अर्ली लेवल पे आपका जो धंधा बनाने के लिए जो लोग हैं वो इंक्यूबेशन में आपको मिल जाएंगे. सो आई एम श्योर डॉक्टर सुजाता कैन हेल्प यू इन दैट मैनर. अदरवाइज ड्रॉप मी अ ईमेल. आई कैन हेल्प यू कनेक्ट टू फ्यू incubators in Noida and Ghaziabad and Delhi, and then I think I can help you big time.
What briefly I would say is you need to look at other aspects of the customer segment. कौन सा टारगेट करना चाहते हैं आप और क्या वैल्यू ऐड करना चाहते हैं, क्या यूनिक यूएसपी बढ़ाना चाहते हैं अपना टी-शर्ट्स का. इट कुड बी फॉर बर्थडेज विद फोटोग्राफ्स एंड देयर आर सो मेनी वेज टू एक्सपैंड.
इसमें ना बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं, बिलीव मी. मैं आई एम नॉट डिसग्रेसिंग एनीथिंग, बट आई कीप ऑन गेटिंग दीस थिंग्स फ्रॉम वेयरएवर आई गो एंड टॉक, स्पेसिफिकली इन यूनिवर्सिटीज एंड कॉलेजेस. पीपल आर डूइंग, आई डोंट नो व्हाट हैपेंड टू पीपल. इनफैक्ट कई बार मुझे लगता भी है कि पता नहीं लोग अपने स्किल का राइट यूज कर भी रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं. But people are after all these regular businesses so much. I mean, there was this company came to me a day before yesterday. They pitched similar again. उनका एक वेबसाइट बना हुआ है, apparel का है, वही कर रहे हैं. उसके अंदर फिर 4-5 वेरिएशन ला दिया है. वो आगे stick-ons लगा दिए हैं, and then they have came up with few different designs. They had their own designer. They're making ठीक है 3-4 लाख रुपए महीने का बन रहा है, but they're burning equal. I mean, they're burning close to 3 lakh rupees and making 3.5 lakh rupees, which is 50,000 rupees of profit or EBITDA. So आप जो कर रहे हैं सूरज, it is good. I'm not disgracing anything at all. You have to do. अगर आप कर रहे हैं, आपको करना ही, आपका पैशन है उसमें, तो फिर आपको बहुत सब एस्पेक्ट देखते हैं. जो 9 कंपोनेंट जैसे मैम अभी बता रहे थे अबाउट कस्टमर, फिर आपको प्रॉपर अपने आइडिया पे बैठना है, 9 के 9 कंपोनेंट पे काम करना है विद द राइट मेंटोर. प्लीज डोंट डू अलोन. I highly suggest people to have mentor in life, because eventually that will help you save your time, tell you exactly when to pivot, how to pivot, where to pivot. और ये धंधा चलेगा, बनेगा भी या नहीं बनेगा, और you'll end up doing just like a regular धंधा. 50,000 लाख रुपए महीना कमा लोगे, उससे ज्यादा कुछ कर नहीं पाओगे. अगर एस्पिरेशन बड़ी है तो then find a right mentor and you'll get a solution.
And plus innovate. add uniqueness and innovate a lot. इसके लिए मार्केट को पूरा कंगाल लो, ये लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं है, टी शर्ट सेलिंग ये लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं चलेगा, short term में ठीक है. Anyways, so now we have taken lots of time for the session. It is time to conclude it. We'll thank our expert for the session, Mr. Adit Goswami. Deep insights we got from him, such nice examples from the real market, from the real world scenario. इतने सारे products की हमने बात की, उनकी branding की बात की, कैसे एक startup खड़ा कर सकते हैं, how we can build a startup from idea. We learned a lot about value proposition from him. We are really thankful for you, to you, Mr. Udit, for sparing your time and being with us, and you have really enriched our students deeply, and I think they have, I believe they have gained a lot from this session.
I'm sure.
It was really a pleasure to have you with us, and I thank you once again. I thank all the participants for the session.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice day. Wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And thanks to the back-end support at NCI. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.